In this video, we are going to cover the next two P's. We've talked about products, i.e. your ISA, pension and GIA. We know which product we're using. Now, which platform are we going to use to open that account and invest our money? Platforms are essentially just supermarkets online, a website that you use to open that account. Now, like supermarkets, for example, food shopping, they're all very similar. When you go online, they sell similar products. The only difference really is the cost. So think of a platform as a similar experience to going food shopping online. Examples of platforms include Vanguard and AJ Bell. Now we're on to the final P. We know which product we're going to use. We know which platform online that we're going to use to set that up. Finally, most importantly, what are we going to place inside our product? And essentially, what are we going to invest in when it comes to investing? There can be a lot of jargon, it can be really overwhelming, so don't be alarmed with my next statement. When it comes to investing, we believe that the best way to invest is into a low-cost, globally diverse index tracking fund. I can imagine you're sat there thinking, oh my god, it sounds so complex. What we're going to do is we're going to break it down into each category to fully understand what that means. Let's start off with the index tracking. When it comes to investing, as a high-level overview, there are essentially two ways that you can invest. The first way is called active, which is someone who believes that they know where is best to invest, which country, which company. They believe that they're better placed to know what's going on and what's going to happen to outperform the market. The other type of investing is what we call passive investing. This essentially means investing into all the companies, for example, into an index. An example of that is investing in all of the companies in the FTSE 100 in the UK and just tracking them as they perform. That's what we mean when we say index tracking investment, because over the long term, it's almost impossible to consistently outperform the markets. An active manager might outperform the market 1 year, but no one ultimately knows what's going to happen over the long run. We don't have a crystal ball, and it makes far more sense to invest in everything in the market and track them as they perform. So that is what we mean by index tracking. The next part, we're going to break down what a fund is. A fund essentially is a collection of lots of different companies. For example, you would invest into a fund and then your money will be spread out across thousands of different companies. Now, the opposite to a fund is a direct stock. This represents ownership in a slice of a single company. For example, you could invest in Netflix as a great example of a direct stock or an equity. If you just invest in one company, the riskiness of your investment will be higher than if you're invested in a fund. This is because your money in a fund will be spread out across lots of different companies. You might still hold Netflix within your fund, but because you've got lots of other companies, if Netflix's share price drops, you've still got loads of other companies that can offset this. So that's why investing in a fund is far less risky, because you're not putting all your eggs in one basket. Don't try to look for the needle in the haystack. Instead, just buy the entire haystack. What does being globally diverse mean? All that means is spreading your money across different countries and different sectors, because we know that certain sectors and countries will perform well at different times. Investing into a globally diverse portfolio essentially reduces your risk, and it's the best way to reduce risk when it comes to investing, because you're not putting all your eggs in one basket. And finally, we have the low cost part. Typically, if you are investing in an index tracking fund, it will be low cost because you are not paying for anyone to try and select investments on your behalf. It's as simple as that. So now we've explained what a low cost, globally diversified index fund is, that hopefully makes more sense. What we're going to do in the next video is talk you through a fact sheet and explain what it is that you need to look for to actually find a fund like this. Now, something I find really helpful is actually just looking at the name of the fund. Often if you are looking at different funds, you will see where they invest in. You should be looking for things like global equity or index tracker, because it'll give you a clue as to what the type of fund is. And when we walk you through the fact sheet, you can read through that and find all the extra information you need to then select that fund to go within your product. And that's the final P. So we know what we're doing with the product, we know what we're doing with the platform, and we know what we're finally placing into that.